So let's understand this. They forced her to lie about how she was blinded in that eye. They forced her to say that she had done it by falling on a toy airplane on the couch. With me? When it was the brother. And they got to America, and they never treated her eye. Now, does anybody in the media say, but you never treated her eye? Can we see how you treated her eye? They just took everything that was said as gospel. And that girl was interrogated, and it was an interrogation, for 2.5 hours. The transcript and the audio is on my site. And the first thing that girl says is, shouldn't I have my lawyer present? And they said, you're the victim. Yeah, their victim. No lawyer for 2.5 hours. But I got to tell you, her testimony was stunning. The beatings, the forced marriage, how she lived in hiding, but all said in earnest. You know what I mean? She's a righteous girl. I mean, here's a girl. They filed charges against her that she was unruly and ungovernable. Okay? A student, AP classes, no drugs, no boys, no alcohol. I should have such unruly in my house. When the parents were interrogated by Ohio law enforcement, they had a care representative. The parents, the loving, doting parents, gave her personal diaries and her computer to CARE, who then distributed it to the media. And the media made fun of her radical, fundamentalist Christianity. She was violated by the media. Can you imagine? You think back to when you were 17 in your little diary. You think about that. Imagine your diary, 17-year-old diary in the papers. And the papers were they were gruesome. You had one guy in Orlando, Michael Cruz, who at every hearing would paint her out to be a harlot. A harlot. You get this? With her dark red nail polish, blowing kisses. So, he wrote me. So I did such a piece on him. I ripped him to shreds. He wrote, thank you, writes me, with a link to my article. So I wrote back, blowing kisses with dark red nail polish. But why is this a seminal story? First of all, hers is a landmark case. And I'm organizing a rally on November 16th. Her good friend, Jamal Javanji, I want you to know he's here. He came down past her when she was struggling, when she found Jesus. A righteous man, also, reamed by the media. People that stand up for her. You got to be ready to take hits. You got to be ready to take hits. There's going to be a rally for her dependency hearing. She was never supposed to go back to Ohio. This was never supposed to happen. That was never supposed to happen. But let me tell you something. This girl, this lovely little girl, is living with restricted internet, restricted cell phone. They're imposing Sharia law in Ohio because female apostates have to go to prison until they recant. Is she not in a prison? 5,000 children in Florida in foster care. Not one has restricted cell phone. Why am I going into this kind of detail? Because this is how they approach the West. Now, we're good people. So when the little boy in public school in New Jersey wants to pray in public school, I was like, well, let the little boy pray. What's the big deal? Let him pray. He just wants to pray. Give him a room. It's all this continual encroachment. Now you have in New Jersey prayer in the public school. You have workshops in Sharia law. You have the federal government, a week after nationalizing the banks, giving courses in Sharia finance. Sharia finance. Now you're going to say to me, hey, Pamela, why do you have a problem with Sharia finance? Isn't it like green? Isn't it like carbon prints? What's the big deal? It's just, isn't it like, Al Gore or something, I'm going to tell you why. Sharia finance has to be halal, which means we will not invest in alcohol, tobacco, certain forms of entertainment. Hey, you know what? Those are big, giant American sectors. That's us. We're all, come on, we're entertainment, smoking and drinking. I mean, come on. And 10% has to go to Zakat. Now, you know what Zakat is. It's charity. But one man's charity is another man's terror funding. So all these things are happening. And this Fort Hood is so egregious that they are turning themselves inside out. It was jihad. It was jihad. And I am being outrageous for saying so. I cannot tell you what has been posted about me for saying so immediately. And I said it immediately because you had certain facts. The proselytizing, yes, the Palestinian background, yes. The mosque, just for knowing. There's a link, his mosque to the 9/11 terrorists. It's all interconnected. That actually just came out today. But he was giving out the Quran the morning of his death. He was wearing the white Shaheed garb, white for death. He gave away the Quran with his calling card that morning. He gave his landlord 2 weeks' notice. He was calm, cool, and collected. He was going to meet his 72 babes. Now, what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. The military is going to want to show that there's no Muslim backlash. And I tell you, they will be aggressive in recruiting Muslims into the military. That's what's going to happen. And what irks me is that when these terrible things happen to this country, the first people that get airtime is CARE. CARE gets on the air, oh, we denounced this. But there's going to be a backlash against Muslims. And this is, there's going to be some awful racism. There was none after 9/11. If you look at the statistics for hate crime, another insidious assault on your free speech. See, there's so much to go over. That hate speech legislation is so dangerous, you cannot know. And I will tell you why. First of all, you're going to say, oh, come on, Pamela. They're beating up a gay guy or they're beating up a black guy and they're yelling epithets. It's not right. Listen, all crime is hate crime. Period. You're beating somebody up or whatever it is, you're going to jail for that. But I ask you, with hate speech, who decides? Who decides? The government? The UN? The United States of America co-sponsored a resolution at the UN with Egypt on hate speech, on the defamation of religion. And the only religion that was mentioned was Islam. The United States. It's incredible. Because you have a president who believes in internationalism. You have a president who believes in the abdication of American sovereignty, who sees America the way he sees Cuba, Indonesia, Kenya. He sees it as any other country. He does not see American exceptionalism, and it's very logical. It's very logical that he would think this way. Let's look at Obama's perspective. He grew up in the largest Muslim country during his formative years. Now, yes, his father was a Muslim. Yes, his stepfather was a Muslim. Yes, he went to Quranic classes. Yes. And yes, he said he was a Christian. But everybody that I know that left Islam and was a Christian has a far different take on it than he does. And what irks me is that speech that he made in Cairo was a defining moment. There are so many things. I mean, I could do a talk for 2 hours on that speech. That he speaks about how he's going to protect women in America so that they can wear the hijab. Who stops them? Who stops them? How about protecting women in America from not wearing the hijab? How about protecting Rifka Barry? How about that?